So today we are going to see the kingdoms, king and early republic. This is our topic that we are going to cover. So we will go through its introduction part and then how some men became rulers, what are Janapadas and its features, then Mahajanapadas, its features and the tax system, then what were the changes in the agriculture, and about Magadha and Vaji, to city we just go through it, and how the end of republic was there. So basically the whole chapter is about the kingdoms, the king and an early republic. So let us start the topic. So this chapter explain how kingdom emerged in ancient India. So how the kingdoms were there and how they emerged in ancient India. Moreover, how kings rule and some regions develop a system of governance where people had a say, an early form of republic. So the chapter is basically about how the kingdoms were emerged in India and how the kings used to rule and how some regions where a system of governance were there, and earlier it was known as a just early form of republic. Now what is a republic? That is a form of government in which a state or a group is ruled by representative of the citizen body. So how some men became rulers? Earlier times, tribal people choose their leaders. So tribal people, they used to choose their leaders among them, and in this way they became the ruler. And however, as the time proceed, in the later times we see some men became king by performing a sacrifice called Aswamedha, that is the horse sacrifice. Here, a horse was let loose to roam freely, and if it entered others' king land and they accepted the superiority of the king who released it, they didn't fight. But if they opposed, they had to fight. So after the horse returned, the king performed a grand ceremony, and this was a way to show power and authority. So this was in the later time. In this way, by performing Ashwamedha also, they choose their ruler also, okay, and they occupy the kingdom. So tribal people choose leaders in earlier times, and later times we have seen Ashwamedha was a process through which some men became rulers, right? Next, we will see what is Janapadas. So, Janapadas were the earliest kingdom, and the term Janapada comes from Jana, that is people, and Pada, foot or place. So, Janapada land where a Jana, that is tribe or group, settled, and these were early kingdoms around 3000 years ago. So, this was the earliest kingdom, and it is the people where a land where a people are settled. Now, what were the features? What were the things were there in Janapadas? So, people live in huts, use painted grey pottery, and grew wheat, barley, and pulses. Not only this, life was mostly rural based on agriculture and cattle rearing. Each Janapada had its own ruler or chief. So, each group had their own ruler or chief. Kings were not very powerful yet and didn't collect regular taxes. So at the time when the Janapadas were there, kings were not very much powerful and they didn't collect regular taxes. Weapons were made of iron and people used tools to clear forest and farm land. So if you're going to talk of weapons, then they were made up of iron and people used these tools to clear forest and farm their land. After that, we have seen the earliest kingdom, the powerful kingdom has been emerged, and that is Mahajanapadas, that is the great. So, about 2500 years ago, some Janapadas grew stronger and became Mahajanapadas, that is the great. These were 16 big kingdoms, or the republic spread across northern India. So, as the time crosses, what happened? Few Janapadas became very much great and they were known as Mahajanapadas. So, total there were 16 big kingdoms spread across northern India. So, among them, few were Magadha, Baji, Kosla, Kuru, Panchala, Avanti. So, these were the examples of Mahajanapadas. Now, what were there in the, if we're going to talk about features of Mahajanapadas, then they have fortified city. It means they are more developed. They build walls around cities for protection. They have permanent armies also. So king needed soldiers to protect and expand their kingdom. So they have permanent armies. Not only this, they have larger administration where king had minister, officials and spies were there. Okay. Apart from it, wars between Mahajanapadas were common for land and resources. And if we're going to talk about the taxes, taxes was very much prevalent in Mahajanapadas. So to maintain armies, build forts and run administration, king collected the taxes. Farmer gave 1/6 of produce as tax called bhaga. So farmer have to give 1/6 of their whatever the productions are there as a tax to the king. Craftsmen and traders paid taxes in goods or money. So, however, there was a flexibility. Either the craftsmen and traders may pay in terms of money or goods. Herders paid tax in animals or animal products, and hunter and gatherer paid forest produce. So, even though they were hunter and gatherer, they have also have to pay the tax system in Mahajanapadas, right? Now we have seen some changes in agriculture also. So use of iron tools like plow helped in better farming. So iron tools begin to use and it just help in better farming. Transplantation of paddy, that is planting sapling, was introduced at this time. That increased production, but however it was a very hard work. That these are the changes in agriculture we have seen in Mahajanapadas. Okay. Now let us see two important Mahajanapadas, that is Magadha and Vaji. So how these are most powerful Mahajanapadas. So Magadha, that is located in present-day Bihar. Its rulers were Bimbisara, Ajatashatru and later Mahapadma Nanda. Now why it was powerful? Because it was near to good rivers, that is Ganga and Son, for transport and farming. Not only this, iron mines were also there nearby. And strong army and fortified capital at Rajagriha, later Patliputra was there. That's where Magadha was very much powerful and it became a powerful Mahajanapada. Secondly, Baji, an early republic, that is here, different from monarchy like Magadha. It was ruled by many rulers, not one king, and called a Gana or Sangha early of republic. So here it was ruled by many rulers, not only by one king, and decisions were made in assemblies after discussion. So the process of taking decision was discussion, and in the assembly they used to discuss, and after that in mutual understanding they decide what to do and what not to do. Example is Lichavis were part of the Baji Sangha. So if you're going to talk, Lichavis were the part of the Baji Sangha. Now however, this republic also ended. Monarchies like Magadha became more powerful and gradually most Sangha were conquered. So in this way what happened? The republic ended. So through this chapter we came to know how small tribal groups in ancient India evolved into larger kingdom and even republics. It also explained about the beginning of politics, governance and state building in ancient India, shaping the early history of Indian civilization. So the chapter Kingdoms, King and Early Republic just tell us about how some men became rulers, then the features and about Janapadas and Mahajanapadas. Then we have seen the changes in agriculture and a quick overview of the Magadha and Baji and how the end of Republic was there. So this much for today. It was a quick overview of the chapter. Let us meet with another topic in the next video.